have the pleasure to introduce, last but not least, our final speaker for this final round, Mr. Marcus Pescinski.
Hi, my name is Marcus Pescinski, and I'm going to provide you guys with an objective view on climate change. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration and National Air and Space Association, 2015 was the hottest year in human existence. Understanding climate change is important for all of us because it's an issue that affects every single human and living creature on planet Earth. Now, how many of you have seen Al Gore's An Inconvenient Truth? And even if you haven't seen the film, I'm sure you're familiar with it. And since that film came out, climate change has really been at the forefront of politics and media, both in the United States and globally. So understanding climate change is incredibly important to being a well-educated global citizen, an educated voter, and just having an intelligent discussion on the issue with your family and friends. So I'm a meteorology major at Rutgers, and I've spent time in the Rutgers Institute of Marine and Coastal Science studying climate change and climate research. And today I'd love to share with you what exactly is climate change and to dispel many of the myths that surround it. Yes, climate change is real. Yes, there have been both hotter and colder periods throughout Earth's history. And yes, our actions do have an impact on the climate. So the first thing we need to understand is what exactly is climate change, because many people are confused about this. They mix up climate and weather. Now, the scientific definition of climate is average weather over a period of hundreds or thousands of years. So tomorrow's forecast for 40 degrees and snow, someone might see that and say, what is this? Climate change isn't real. How could it be snowing in April? But that's just weather. To get an idea of what the climate for New Brunswick is like in April, you need to take the weather in April and average that out over a period of hundreds of years. And maybe we'd find that, hey, the average temperature in April historically has been 60 degrees. And if we saw that the past few years, maybe April has been 62, 63, that would be evidence of climate change. So to put together a picture of what this climate has been like, what Earth's weather has been like, even through times before human existence, scientists can look at ice core samples, rock deposits, or glacial deposits, anything that's existed for millions of years. And in doing so, the National Weather Service has found that indeed there have been several much hotter periods in Earth's history and several cooler ice ages throughout time. But all of these more volatile climate times happened millions of years ago, well before human existence. So now that you all have a better background on what exactly climate change is, let's zoom in on climate during humans' time on Earth. This is the most important time to look at because human life is only possible in a very narrow ideal temperature bound. And if we go outside of this bound, it may threaten our existence on Earth. So modern civilization has really existed for about the past 10,000 years or so. And this has been a period of relatively cool or stable climate. However, a 2013 study by Oregon State climatologist Scott Marcotte found that today's temperatures are hotter than any other time in the past 10,000 years. And today's rate of temperature increase is higher than at any other time in history. In fact, to find a period of temperatures warmer than today, one would have to travel back over 125,000 years to a time well before modern civilization existed. So now that we're on the topic of humans and climate change, let's investigate man's interaction with the climate. And the main way we've interacted with the climate is through our release of greenhouse gases. Now, the way greenhouse gases work in the atmosphere is that they allow solar radiation in, which heats up, but they don't allow it to escape back out into space. So for non-science folk, you can picture sitting in your car with the windows up on a really sunny day. It doesn't matter if it's in the winter or the summer. The sunlight comes into your car and it gets really hot, and the heat can't escape because the windows are closed. And eventually the car becomes much warmer than the air outside around it. That's essentially what greenhouse gases do to the Earth. So some common greenhouse gases include water vapor, which just occurs naturally, such as clouds, methane, which are gases released by human and animals, and then carbon dioxide. And carbon dioxide is released into the atmosphere through the burning of fossil fuels. And some common fossil fuels are coal, oil, and gasoline. Now, carbon dioxide is one of the most effective greenhouse gases. So that means if there's more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, it would make sense that Earth's temperatures are warmer. So I'd like to wrap up with looking at the graphs that are being passed around. So this top plot shows Earth's historic temperatures. And then the bottom one shows Earth's CO2 levels throughout time. And of course, it's possible to make these plots through looking at ice core samples and rock deposits, so we can get an idea of what CO2 levels were like, even in times before human existence. And if we look at the most recent time period on these plots, we see that there's a big uptick in temperatures that coincides perfectly with the uptick in carbon dioxide. And again, this makes sense because the more carbon dioxide, greenhouse gases that are in the atmosphere, the warmer Earth should be. Another really interesting thing to note about the bottom graph is that the uptick in CO2 levels in the atmosphere coincides perfectly with the start of the Industrial Revolution. And this is the first time that humans really started burning fossil fuels in mass quantities. So clearly we can make the relation between our burning of fossil fuels and increasing temperatures and humans' impact on changing the climate. So to summarize, climate and weather are not the same thing. Climate is weather over a period of hundreds and thousands of years. Yes, there have been warmer periods and cooler periods throughout Earth's history, but today is the hottest time since humans have ever occupied this planet. Finally, yes, our actions, burning fossil fuels, driving our cars, having electric lights powered by coal-powered plants, has indeed affected the climate. So regardless of what political policy you support on climate change, understand that yes, climate change is real, and yes, we're all having an impact.